trapped a bunch of aging role-playing gamers in their homes, forcing them to crawl out of their pen and paper comfort zone and into the online world of virtual tabletops and video calls. So join them as they raise the curtain to share their stories, insights, and love of all things geek. So grab your longsword and your +1 bottle of Viagra and get ready for another episode of Advanced Age Roleplaying Gamers podcast. That's a lot of syllables for one sentence.
Hello and welcome to the Advanced Age Roleplaying Gamers podcast. I'm Nathan. I'm one of your hosts. I've got with me today Matt, is my co-host, and Mitch from Penny for a Tale. He's here to talk to us about Chew and other things that's going on for Penny for a Tale. Mitch, why don't you go ahead? Well, actually, Matt, why don't you say hi, and then we'll go ahead and let Mitch introduce himself.
Hi, Mitch. How's it going? Good seeing you again.
Yeah, you too. How's it doing?
So Mitch, say hi to the folks and give us your deets.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be back. I am your tri-host today, and the third wheel of sorts. You can find me on Twitter at Mitch S. Bustillos. Other than that, pennyforatale.com. And yeah, pretty much anywhere where there's a TTRPG, you'll probably find me somewhere lurking in the shadows.
You're all over the place.
I try to be.
Yeah, it's funny. We interviewed the folks from Battlelords of the 23rd Century.
Yeah,
found out you know Tony pretty well, and so it's a small world.
Oh yeah, it is. I mean, every convention, like all the TTRPG tables, like at Origins, there was only like 3 TTRPG tables, or maybe 4. So it was just like bouncing between those and chatting with them, and it's like this is it, right? This is a convention scene right here. This is like hanging out with everyone and everything. So it was pretty cool.
All the cool people.
Exactly.
All right. So my first hard hitting question.
All right, let's do this.
You ready?
Yeah, I am.
All right. So Necrobiotic. Last time we had you on here, we talked about Necrobiotic. Why don't you give us an update on where that is?
Yeah, so Necrobiotic has just, it is almost done with the editing phase. I think within the next week or two, the full doc will just be ready and done. And so then after that is just the layout process. We're trying to figure out how we're going to lay out it, because the first part runs very different from other TTRPGs. In that the way it is organized is that it is telling a story via an unreliable narrator, instead of like, this is a world, this is the characters and stuff like that. So there's definitely like we're trying to figure out the best way to try to present that information, and then bring in all this new stuff that we have, which I got to read Michael and Ganilla's short story, the original creators of Cult, way back in the 90s. And they wrote a short story for us, so like figuring out where that will go, and that is amazing. We have Mecca, who I think is rated number 7 in the world for poetry, or spoken word poetry, and she's doing some pieces for us too. So it's a lot of cool things to kind of bring in. We also have Children of the River, the new archetype, finished and done, which has never been seen in El Engranaggio or Necrobiotic. So it's cool bringing that in, and I've gotten to play around with it. So I'm like one of the first people in the US to do that. And so they can like call down lightning, which is really cool. So it's kind of a divergence from like the other archetypes in very serious ways. So yeah, you can, the next place will be is PAX Unplugged. We'll be doing some one-shots there, talking about the game, and stuff like that. I definitely need to put the order in for the custom cards, because we're about done with that too.
I ordered those.
Yeah.
and Mecca, she was at your launch party.
Yeah, she was. She was the one who did great. The spoken word. Yeah, she is amazing. Really so excited to have her on board. And yeah, we've been pretty busy with all the things, so it's been cool just watching everything flow.
That's great. Yeah, Matt and I were actually talking about maybe going to PAX Unplugged, and
you should.
And buying a bunch of shit.
Yeah, it's my favorite con. If you haven't checked it out yet, I think Rest in Pieces will be one of the products that Imagining Games is putting out there. It was supposed to be at Origins, but it got sidetracked because of shipping.
That's bad right now.
Yeah, but that's going to be a hilarious, fun time. I think the Sabbat from World of Darkness, that book should be ready to be bought by then too. I got to see it at Gen Con and touch it and hold it, but they only had the one, and I couldn't figure out a way to steal it.
Yeah, so Matt and I played a lot of the old World of Darkness stuff back when it was before you were born, when it was launched. So.
Hey, I've been alive for over a century here. Okay, I'm just chilling.
But yeah, and I backed Rest in Pieces too, so I should get my copy soon.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, it's been hilarious running it for people.
Looks fun.
Yeah, especially sometimes the Jenga towers are a little uneven, especially the more we like use them. So like watching them like mess around with it and like bump into the table and stuff, like it's hilarious, and it's definitely a good time. I played Cthulhu the expansion at Origins, and that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
There's so many games, so little time.
Many.
So little time.
Well, hold on. There is plenty of time. There's not enough games, to be honest. Like, I went to Origins and Gen Con, and I did not buy a TTRPG. And I was like, crap. Like, there's nothing new this year at the conventions, which was sad to see, but it's also understandable.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to Sabbat, but of course they only had that one. I did ask them if they were willing to part with it, but no. But yeah, we need more games. Way
you have
more.
to dominate them to get it.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Like I had my riding crop and everything, but it just didn't work out. I must be using the powers wrong.
Yeah. That's that's a little different type, but we'll give you a pass on that.
Yeah.
Hey Matt, what kind of questions do you have?
Yeah, I guess basically I was just wondering, so Chew, so what made you think, hey, Chew, I got to turn this into a role-playing game?
Yeah, so Chew is my all-time favorite comic book. It's actually the first comic book I've read from the first volume all the way to the end. And I did that probably about a decade ago when it was like first coming out and stuff like that. And it's been one of those comic books that I keep returning to just because I love the combination of a dark story and comedy. And so it was when I was working on troubleshooters for Helmgast, and we were thinking about having a comic book. Like this little comic book for conventions for troubleshooters. And so I went to Rob Guillory because he just stood out in my mind as like a great artist and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, why don't I contact him and see how it'll go? He did a piece for troubleshooters that I still have. It didn't really flow with like the 80s Euro comic vibe. And so we ended up not using it, but I was talking to him and I was like, it'd be really cool to have a Chew TTRPG. And he was just so open about it. He's like, let me get you like the writer. Let's chat and stuff like that. And even talking to John Layman, he was like, if you guys can do this, I'm all in. And that's why I brought in Peter Panusha of Imagining Games, because he has such a great track record. I don't really have a track record. I'm still a newbie in this scene. And so having like between us two, he definitely saw like passion and people who have experience in this. And yeah, he just went full on like, this is awesome. Go do it. Let's have it. And that was pretty much it. Like after that, it was just getting all the pieces together, getting the dream team to make this wacky, weird TTRPG.
That's awesome.
You've got quite a few people. So you mentioned Pete. Who else do you have working on this project?
Yeah, we have Steve D, who did Relics. If you haven't checked out that game, I definitely encourage you to do so. It is a tarot-based TTRPG from Australia. It's actually a supplement is on Kickstarter right now. So if people are watching, definitely go check that out. The other person we have is Justin. I forget his last name, but Justin does all the game design aspects. So he's like a huge Forge in the Dark fan, and used to do or still does a lot of hacks and such. So seeing him, because we didn't want to just give out the same sort of stuff. I'm a huge fan of City of the Mist and what they did with Power by the Apocalypse, making something new and interesting and very innovative. And he did such a brilliant job on bringing this kind of Forge in the Dark hack to make it new, interesting, and this innovative thing that is just amazing to watch, to run, to play. So he did an absolute terrific job. So that's Justin Ford. After that, it was, I definitely have to give a shout out to Morgan Weeks, our editor. Without him, nothing could be possible. Editors are the sexy people behind everything. So
yeah,
Morgan, I love you. I always love you.
Super sexy.
And then finally, the other person kind of stands prominent in my mind is Federico Sons. He's the one who did Nibiru, which just funded their second Kickstarter a couple of, maybe I think half a year ago. Their first one was super successful, and you can find it on Modifius. But yeah, it's this all-star team, and then we're bringing all these other stretch goal writers and stuff like that, people that I know and have looked up to, and kind of bringing diverse voices. So it's been really cool.
That's awesome. Nice. So I've done a little bit of Forge of the Dark. I'm not by no means an expert, but if you could give us the 50,000 foot overview of what how a Forge in the Dark game plays and what's the attraction to it.
Yeah, it kind of runs similar to Power by the Apocalypse. It's probably its redheaded step cousin. But Forged in the Dark was first made popular by Blades in the Dark by Evil Hat Games. And it's this heist game where you roll dice and you still have that failure, mixed success, and then full success. But for this one, the focus wasn't on the planning of the heist. It was on being in the moment, in the scene, and using flashbacks and different narrative themes in order to create that Ocean's 11 sort of telling of a heist, instead of Shadowrun, which is you spend 2 hours of planning and then you do it, everything goes to shit, and then you could keep going anyway. Right. So this was very much different. And so for Chew, we wanted to capture that same sort of essence. So, you start on a case, you have these attributes, these quirks and perks and stuff that give you different bonuses on your D6s. So you're rolling a pool of D6s with a 6 being a full success, 4 through 5 mix, and 1 through 3 of a failure. And the highest value on your dice pool is what you get. But in this case, we wanted people to not really focus on the case like a Call of Cthulhu or Delta Green or a Gumshoe game. Mm-hmm. Chew had a lot of mystery, but with every case that they were on, there was always a lot of other stuff going on. So we wanted your mom to be able to call you and complain to you about missing Thanksgiving, and for that to just be your day, including trying to solve this murder. And so that kind of brings in those two aspects. And when the team is ready to kind of make that final crack the case roll, they actually dictate how much of their theories becomes true. So you as the GM, you're just kind of following their conspiracy, and based on their final roll, whatever they say is the truth. Or, if they get that mixed success, you can kind of flare it up, add different things to bring you into that final scene where you're pointing guns at each other like a standoff, and figure out what happens then. So it's very much one thing led to another, and it's oh crap, where are we? What's happening and why? So yeah, it's definitely meant to keep people in the action and away from the minute Gumshoe things, which is fun. I love Gumshoe games and stuff like that, but I also Chew definitely is not a Gumshoe game. It's a procedural, but not like a Gumshoe procedural. So it's a nice, interesting mix.
Good.
Nice. Well, for someone who hasn't read them, like myself, although I've read, since we talked about this, I've read some clips and stuff like that. And it looks really cool. Love the idea. But maybe for the listeners, could you give us maybe sort of the background, the history of the world that is Chew?
Yeah, it's very odd because this year I did 2 Kickstarters where humanity has a very difficult time. Necrobiotic, where humanity pretty much flops and dies. And this one is taken down by a bird flu, which spreads throughout. And so, just like in response to acts in the past, the Homeland Security got like a huge power boost. In the same way, the FDA got a huge power boost. And so now they're more powerful than any other government agency, able to do whatever they want. And having these people do that is just like this very odd, like, what? And so like chicken is now illegal. There's chicken smuggling, people going to jail for eating chicken. And not only that, but it's this rise of food related power. So you're dealing with people who can like carve up chocolate to actually be like a weapon, like a laser gun or a shuriken, and it will cut and dice you. Or people who get like really smart the more they eat. So there's all these like different like zany, weird, fun things, but dark things. The comic book focuses on Tony Chu, who whatever he ingests, he gets a psychic impression of. So he'll often like bite into a body to figure out like what happened to him and stuff. So yeah, it can get like zany and dark and stuff, and you just never know what to expect when you come in, and your boss will always hate you, because I think that's a very important part of any like investigative procedural with a towering. So sometimes like the real enemy is just your boss, who's like, if you don't get this done by the end of the day, you're fired, and it's like 5 murders spread out across the East Coast. It's like, oh man,
Just like real life.
Yeah, exactly. We wanted, you go to TTRPGs to escape your boss, but we're like, no, it's right here, and he's worse. So,
and when you're your own boss, you do sometimes hate yourself. So,
Right.
Exactly. I was this morning. I made coffee, but I sat down on the couch, and I was desperately trying to find the energy to get up to then get coffee, so I would have more energy to do stuff. And it was hard. I was like,
So I've got a weird aside here. So I've got kids. They're like in their 20s now, and I remember probably about 10 years ago, I tried to get my kids to play Champions, and my daughter, who is always bad because I never remember her friends' names. But I remember that she made a character that was an alien ninja who made all their weapons from bread. So she was a bakery ninja. So I think that would fit really well in this type of game.
yeah.
You should, you know what? When you get a copy, we should invite Olivia to come and play. She could play her bread ninja.
Yes, yeah, like you got it right there. That's the character. You're set to go.
Yeah, I think she's done with role-playing games, at least for now. But I hold out hope. But
Yeah.
who knows? So we talked about Forged in the Dark a bit, and I was kind of looking through some of the stuff you got on the Kickstarter page, and one of the things that kind of stood out was this cork board, and I don't remember that from Blades in the Dark. Is that something new?
Yeah, that's new for us. Something that I was really excited, and something that the more like, especially we've only had the chance to play with it online up until Gen Con and Origins, but Origins we actually had like it printed out. I actually have like a copy of the prototype here with me today, and having that out on the middle of the table and watching people add conspiracy, because we wanted that like Charlie Day, like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, looking at the corkboard and being like, what the heck's happening as they draw on it. And we took pictures at Origins of all these like crazy sticky note conspiracy boards about like who the heck was this, and like there's a llama on it, and like this person's a chicken, it might be murdering this person, and all these arrows and stuff like that. So it's a way to kind of help organize the conspiracy, and also a fun thing to kind of look at and be like, that was a cool session. That was the product of this session, which was interesting and weird. So it really helps out a lot.
So Matt, you got any?
Yeah, I think it was so kind of working sort of in now. So with the setting, so what kind of characters? I think you mentioned some of the powers. So are there character classes, or is it basically just a single, like you pick like your powers, your talents that kind of defines you? Like, what are some of the ways that food can make you, powerful?
So we decided to go, because that's something we struggled with at the beginning, because, do you have like your organization? Do you work for the FDA? Are you a criminal? Do you work for the USDA? And all these other factions and stuff? Or do we kind of divide you up between like food-based powers, or because there's cyborgs in this too? Tony's partner is he gets an axe to the face, and so half of his body is now electronic. And it's like, how do we divide this up? And so what we went with was personality types within the comic book. So we have like the mascot who's like always there to cheer you on. We have like the expert who's just like arrogant and knows it all. The hard-nosed detective, the hot shot like partner, and like just this breadth of different archetypes that you can choose. And then from there, you can pretty much choose any approach, and approaches are kind of like these way to kind of keep your character within the sphere of your character. So like we have hard-boiled as an approach, or like half-baked, egghead, all food related kind of personality traits that give you an extra die whenever like you're doing something that has to do with being an egghead, or by being fun size. And then, your quirks can be anything from like you're a cyborg, you have a cybernetic sidekick, platypus, to any food power that you can think of. We're going to have all the food powers that we got from the comics in the full book so that you can choose and pick. But we're also like, choose a big universe, make one up yourself, and use it and abuse it, because that's the way it goes.
It's awesome. Cool.
Yeah, so there's different playbooks. Now, I saw something about there's going to be a quick start for this.
Yeah, the quick start's almost done. I have the document and stuff. We're just doing layout, finishing that up. So the quick start will be pretty much done any day now. I keep looking at it. It's so sexy. And it's made to look like a comic book, because we got access to all of the art from the comic book. So we just like panel for panel can like play out a story and let you be a part of it. But yeah, the quick start is coming out soon. If you haven't checked it out, definitely for the listeners, we have 2 Kickstarter rewards that I'm really excited about. One is getting your ass kicked by a chicken, Pollo, who's like the baddest chicken in the Chew comics. And I think that one got filled up. And then the second one is a psychedelic trip at one of the expensive NASA facilities, which is just like this ongoing joke and theme in the comic books. So those are hilarious and awesome. Definitely check them out if you haven't yet.
So, I see you have a lot of add-ons for this too, and you've met a lot of your goals and expansion, but there's a bunch of add-ons here. I opted for the dice because that looks the chicken bucket and dice.
Yes, the chicken bucket dice, and we're working on improving the dice quality too. So we thought about having like little chicken nuggets in like a dice, like clear dice thing. And the chicken bucket itself is we saw a prototype, like someone moving it around after they printed it out, and it's so cool. I mean, even if you are playing in another game, bringing a chicken bucket full of dice is a power move. Yeah. People will remember you as that guy with the chicken bucket.
That's awesome.
So it's just perfect.
So what other kinds of stretch goals do you have planned that you haven't met yet?
Ooh, yeah. So one of my favorites is a social stretch goal, which is we we had every pledge associated with a type of food, and so people have been sharing it on the social medias. When we get to a certain amount, and you can find it on the Kickstarter, me and Peter are going to have a trivia contest against a Chew Superfan to see like who knows it better. And we'll probably be eating weird stuff too while doing it. So I'm really excited for that. Other than that, we have like really cool stretch goals. I know Bridget Jeffries just became one of the stretch goals. She's amazing. Banana Chan worked on Jiangxi by Wedding Games. Esteban Colon is doing Memories of Tomorrow, which is another Imagining Games thing. And there's all this cool stuff. Like I want to have the adventures that we have. There's 3 we have right now, which is Long Long Man, Hearts Beating, Poetry Club, and Cock Holster. We want them to be printed out as like little comic books so that the GM can like read through it and enjoy it and also run it for their table. And so, yeah, all these cool different things we want to bring out. Like there's so much cool stuff if we just push past all these stretch goals, because there's stuff I want to do, but we got to wait till like the foundation is set for stretch goals, and then I can start adding stuff without Peter knowing. So it'd be great.
I like that little caveat without Peter knowing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like,
ignore that, Peter.
Yeah, don't. You didn't hear nothing.
So you've been doing some playtesting with this, have you been doing some playtesting with this?
Yeah, I was running. I mean, before Gen Con and Origins, I've been running it a lot, and then at Origins and Gen Con, I was running it 2 to 3 times a day. So it was a lot of practice.
What's some of like the weirdest or most interesting, like either character concepts or situations that unfolded? Because this definitely sounds like this has got the potential for some fun stuff showing up.
Okay, what's the rating on this show?
Yeah, so we're normally
awful people.
We're normally
right.
awful. Yes.
So at Gen Con we had 2 chicken fuckers. So one of the first sessions, 2 of them. One was a guy who, I forget what the context was, because it was the first game of Gen Con, like the first game.
Come out strong.
I know, the exhibition hall wasn't even open. Go downstairs, it's like I think 10 in the morning or something like that, and we're like, all right, let's do this. And it's like, you fucked a chicken. Like that was the take from this. And then later in Gen Con, one of the other players got seduced by a very swole looking chicken, and she had to roll for like days of sexy times with said chicken. We had at Origins someone eat a half-eaten sushi roll with a full condom in it. It was. I told him he didn't have to do it, but he's like, nah, I need to get to the bottom of this mystery. Someone fought a sexualized gummy bear with like giant tits, and that was like hitting him with it upside the head. So when he finally defeated said gummy bear, he like ripped off one of the breasts and was like using it as like a hammer from then on. There's a lot of crazy shit that happens in this game because like, you know, it's a zany, weird, dark game. I think one of my like favorites, which was kind of subtle, was one person's mom was held at knife point by a crab. And she had the option to like save her mom or continue on with the perp. And she just went right by, and as her mom got like her neck sliced and like flopped down in the ice cream truck. And I was like, man, that was cold. And everyone's like, geez, what's the story behind you and your mom? And she just like let that happen.
Didn't make his chicken nuggets when he was.
Yeah, I know, right? Like something happened.
There's a backstory there, right?
Yeah. Horrible backstory. But yeah, it's like every time we play it, like, and I think that's one of the the biggest strength for Chew is that you come out of it with a story that you'll be telling your friends for a very long time. Or maybe you won't be telling your friends. Maybe you're like...
What stays at the con, or what happens at the con, right, stays at the con.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, with our friend, a weekend getaway that we just came back from playing Fiasco, meeting one of the other people on the podcast, ended up being the king and queen of the zombie penguins. So that was... Yeah, so I think for us too, I think humor is a huge part of it. We like to tell interesting stories, but I think there's just competition to outdo each other and say or do the grossest thing.
Exactly.
Man, it's hard. It's hard to win because these are some sick fuckers.
Well, this sounds like a game that would be perfect for us, right? Like
I think the gang would get a kick out of this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Yeah.
You guys are and you guys funded so fast too. It was like it was hours. It wasn't even days. It was
90 minutes is what we're going for with our sweet total goal of 69, which was my thing. Peter had a different number involved, and I switched it. And I was like, it needs to be this. This is nice. That's what I wanted people to say, like, nice.
Oh man,
there's clearly a really supportive community out there. I mean, a lot of because it's just always amazing. Like the whole Kickstarter phenomena is great that there's like all these people out there who might not be able to connect with you, but through them, they're able to fund these like really great projects and be like part of it. And I think that's a great thing for developers, for writers. This has been like amazing. In the past, it was you get the game book that you get because some big company decided to do something, right? And now it's in everybody's hands. It's really nice.
Yeah, I mean I think our biggest example was like Magpie Games getting Avatar, right? And kickstarting it. Like I don't think Avatar, it would be a very difficult process to figure out without Kickstarter how it would come about and how it would be printed and like the capital it would take to get it funded. I mean, even with the amount of interest, like they had over 1 million, trying to like put that production team behind that without any sort of like huge backing would be like nearly impossible for a company like Magpie Games. But like Kickstarter allowed all these ideas and stuff to come in, and people can now like, no matter what your experience or your economic standing and stuff like that, you can have a chance to build a community and have your idea flourish. And so it's really cool. Like I love seeing it.
Yeah, I mean it's and clearly with the kind of numbers you've got here and what you did with Necrobiotic too, it wasn't just fans that were already fans of the comic book. It's people that like what you're doing and kind of like the ideas that you presented, in the Kickstarter itself and I mean it's with this one and kind of some of the fun add-ons that Peter had in Rest in Pieces too. That's like really super creative, and I've had quite a few Kickstarters. We're not going to say how many you or I have backed.
Oh no, I think we should. I spoke with a person the other day, and I thought that I was a really super backer, but they put me to shame, and like. Since then, I need to find someone else so I feel better about myself concerning the amount of Kickstarters I've backed.
I'm looking at mine right now. So of 18 is what I'm up to now.
All right, cool. So I have 146 back projects. So So I feel better now. Thank you for that very much. I now feel like I'm on top of the world. This is good. Yeah, because the other guy like had me by, oh God, I think he had like 4 times the amount I had. I was just like, I want to be you.
I just love that that like in like a few weeks I'm gonna get those rest in pieces, and it's gonna, it was a while ago when I backed this, so it's gonna feel pretty neat to like get this. And it's gonna feel like it's really, I think I backed it around my birthday last year, and my birthday's coming up, so nice. So I think it'll feel like a birthday present. I'm getting that.
Yeah, good old 20.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 20. I'll be 21. Yeah. So I'll be legal to drink finally.
Yeah, that's it's a lot of cool stuff to drink.
Somehow younger than my children.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I love just, it's, the stuff shows up eventually, and it's nice like finally getting something in your hands like before other people, and getting interesting extras, and like this whole actual play we got, we're finished. We've recorded all of them. I'm still editing. We're still editing a bunch of them, but we recorded all of them and we're going to have them all out before the actual physical product gets into my hands, because we just did all from the alpha and beta and final release PDFs. So I like the whole Kickstarter phenomenon. It's fun, and you get to support interesting projects like yours. And,
it's like really cool to see everyone come together and just all the creativity, despite like the last 2 years, which has put kind of like a standstill on conventions. It's been like, I'm glad that people can still find the time to be creative and are supported on it. It's, especially during this time, it's very important.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and these kind of games too are the best, because they bring us together, and it gives you something to do with your friends that isn't just sitting watching Netflix. So.
Yeah, you can chew and chill instead of Netflix and chill. Like, go for it. Chew is an adult TTRPG, use it to spice up your marriage. Use it to bring a date and be like, there's chickens in this. Let's see where this heads off to.
Chickens and gummy bears. It's good.
I know, right? Like, who doesn't want that? Like,
well, everybody can kind of connect with food. Right, it's a very food itself is very social, right? And so sort of like
and universal,
right? So storytelling and food, now it's a game. It's a perfect mix, right? It's sort of like this was meant to be.
Yeah, and we are. I'm trying to push to implement like a drinking game in all of the one shots. I've been doing that, not at Gen Con because they won't let us drink, but at my local store, like. Every time there's a phrase for every one shot that I have that we take a drink every time that phrase is said. The last time I ran it, I was sloshed halfway through. I was just like, I need to drop back down the beer because this is, jeez.
Yeah, we have no experience doing anything like that, right, Matt?
No, not at all.
See, it's perfect.
This was a rough weekend, I tell you.
Just, just play a chew game, and every time someone mentions food, take a drink.
There you go. Ooh.
Yeah, you'll have a wonderful weekend.
So, who's your favorite chew character, and why is it Poyo?
I mean, it has to be Poyo. And people have been asking, like, is there a playbook for Poyo? And our answer, like, instead of asking the real question is should. Is anyone really chicken enough to play a Poyo playbook? So I think we're going to have it in the book. We're just going to be like, it's going to have like an X over it. Like, don't let people play this because they're not worthy. But maybe for that one chicken out there who is worthy, the rules are there. So they'll be able to play it.
It's awesome.
But yeah, after that, I think it would be, I keep going back to John Colby. He's awesome. He's because he's so supportive, especially at the end of the comics. Like he you would think that him and the main character Tony like butt heads against each other. They have opposite personality traits. But despite that, like John's still like, I support you through the thick and the thin, and it's just like, oh. And that was kind of like the inspiration for the mascot to just be like, I'm here for you. I love
awesome.
you. Aww. I know, right? Cry.
Matt, you have anything for me?
No, not for us. That covered pretty much everything I was going to ask.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad we were able to do this again.
Yep.
Me too. Yeah, and hey, we'll just keep doing this. Maybe in like 4 more months, I'm sure there'll be another Kickstarter, and I'll be like, "Hey guys, I'm back."
All right, what's your pitch now?
That's right.
Yeah.
Let me check my bank account. It's good to see you.
You as well.
Say hi to the family for me.
I will. Yeah, you'll be seeing them Thursday, right?
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah. Play on.
We'll need you back on that sometime at some point.
Oh yeah, sometime soon. I would love to.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. Again, it's Mitchell from Penny for a Tale with talking about this new Kickstarter for the Chew RPG. Fully funded, so it's put into it's gonna get it. And how many days left?
Oh, we have. Let me look at the number.
Sorry,
we have 23 days left.
All right.
Lots of time to back it. So check it out. Watch the videos. There's some actual plays up there, some other interviews, and watch those. And if this is something that looks fun for you, you should back it because Mitchell delivers.
That's right.
Yeah, I like just like the movie Deliverance. They deliver stuff. They deliver stuff in that movie. That's all I know. About
That's
like
yes.
mailman,
About,
or
DoorDash.
maybe post. No. What's the postal one with the mailman?
Postman,
Is it
right?
Postman? There you go. I'm
Postman.
Postman. There we go. Kevin Costner, right? Yeah.
If you kickstart it, they will come. We're just going to keep going with the Kevin Costner thing here.
Yes. Kevin Costner, the TTRPG. You get to play Kevin Costner in all
All
the
right.
versions.
Now, if you're not going to copyright that, I'm going to write that down.
Yeah, write it down. That's yours. You can have it for free. Have it. Take it.
I'm going to need somebody to help me market it. So.
That's right. I got you. Well, you got Kevin Costner. He'll market it.
That's right.
There you go. Oh boy! All right, this has been a great time. Thanks Matt for helping out.
Oh yeah, it's great to be here.
Always good. And see you guys next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.